Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Tanking any interest people would have in your product seems to be a competition lately now in the entertainment industry. And all you have to do, it's a competition, just hold my beer moments one after another after another. And after reading a little bit of this article, that seems to be the case. This from That Park Place, John F. Trent writes, Dragon Age The Veilguard game director who describes themselves as a queerosexual gendermancer claims game is inherently queer. Right off the bat, you are going with ideological modern audience buzzwords and not realizing that the people you want to sell this game to aren't interested in that nonsense anymore. They don't hate it. They don't hate queer or anything like that. They're tired of hearing this used as some sort of promotional material for the video game. Because time and time again, it shows up as a red flag. Well, we'll ignore it this time. And then the game comes out and it ends up being a steaming pile of hot garbage. After it's happened over and over again, you start to see these little ideological buzzwords and you go, nope, I'm out. I'm not even going to waste my time. And that's what's going to happen with the next version of Dragon Age. Of course, it also doesn't help that Bioware is involved. But anyway. Here we go. Bioware announced it is renaming its upcoming Dragon Age game from Dragon Age Dreadwolf to Dragon Age Veilguard. At the same time, it's been brought to public attention that the game's director is a trans woman who supports... Let's go ahead and announce all the red flags over and over again. Supports Black Lives Matter. To each their own. You do you, boo. He also believes the game is inherently queer. Now, it's at that point where your customer base, or at least a good majority of them, are going to go, no. And they're just going to leave. Well, that's because they're bigots. No, they're tired of the nonsense. They're tired of that being the advertisement, that's being the promotional material, that being constantly shoved in your face as the only thing these directors, these writers, these programmers, that's all they want to talk about. And if that's the most important thing about the video game to you, then everything else will suffer. The story, the characters, the mechanics, because the game is inherently queer. Blog post titled The Next Dragon Age has a new title. Bioware explained that the change in title is because they did not want to put the focus on the enemy. Who cares? People just want a cool sounding title. The Veilguard, does it sound cool? Does it play well? We'll find out. Unfortunately, red flags, people are going to run away like Speedy Gonzales. The blog post detailed, quote, naturally, the Dreadwolf still has an important part in this tale, but you and your companions, not your enemies, are the heart of this new experience. And so, to capture what this game is all about, we changed the name as the original title didn't show just how strongly we feel about our new heroes, their stories, and how you'll need to bring them together to save all of Thedas. We proudly introduce to you Dragon Age The Veilguard. Now, to be fair, this could be a fantastic game, a wonderful addition in the IP, but unfortunately, people have to run their mouths. Oh, previously reeled in, let's see, Dreadwolf was soulless. Okay. One of the companions introducing, let's see, Oh, Dreadwolf was soulless. Okay, Dreadwolf, the big bad guy, is soulless. One of the companions introduced in Dragon Age Inquisitions. I knew him as soulless. Where's the beefy part of the meaty, juicy part of the article? Ancient elven god of lies and heroic rebel against tyranny, depending on which story. Now, if you want to go and find out about this game, get a little bit of backstory and all that nifty stuff, you be my guest. I don't know. I definitely don't have a computer to play it. I have not played Dragon Age since the original. I think I played a little bit of the second one. It's been a considerable amount of time, but all I remember is that I thoroughly enjoyed it. Spent hours and hours. Let's see, followed the announcement. Mark Kern talked about it because, of course, that's what we do. When we talk about video games, we love video games. Let's see. Following this announcement, former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern, a.k.a. Grums. Why just call him Grums? Everybody knows him as Grums. Don't say Mark Kern, call him Grums. Wrote on X, Bioware Dragon Age has been renamed to Dragon Age the Veilguard. New gameplay trailer to debut June 11th. Oh, just 5 days from the time of this recording. I'm hoping for a great game, free of modern politics. Uh-oh. He then included a screenshot of the game director Bush's locked X account, because that's what you do. You start saying things and you get upset. People don't like what you have to say and they start going after you. Now, granted, some of those people are legitimate trolls. Some of them are probably legitimate douche nozzles who just want to attack because they have nothing better to do with their lives. I've mentioned these people, the people who wake up early in the morning and try to justify their measly existence by jumping onto social media and finding something they can be offended about. These people exist on both sides of the ideological spectrum, whether they are conservative or liberal or even, well, Democrat, Republican, call them what you want. They exist on both sides. Is that a case? Could that be what happened here? Who knows? But you lock your account because you're not interested in discussions or you're legitimately being attacked. Don't attack these people. Don't be a douchebag. Just don't do that. Let's see. Locked account, which shows he claims to be a woman. He's a trans woman. Shut the fuck up. Queer sexual... Here's where the funny part stuff. Queer sexual gendermancer and supporter of BLM. Okay, cool. Better makeup than Dylan Mulvaney. Go you, boo. While this information is being brought to light to a wider public by Grum's, a developer story focused on Bush reveals their identity as a queer trans... Wait. A queer trans woman would... I have questions. A queer trans woman. Wouldn't that mean you're a trans woman that likes... That's kind of... Anyway, moving on. Indeed, been injected into the game. Oh no. Bush detailed as a queer trans woman. Here's a quote. I have a perspective on the game that not everyone has, because heaven forbid no one has the same perspective as you. Dragon Age has long been a place where LGBTQIA plus folks can see people like themselves, just like most other games. That's Dragon Age isn't special in that aspect. It appeals to lots and lots and lots and lots of people, represented respectfully. See previous statement. It's inherently very queer, and this, ladies and gentlemen, has to turn people away from your product, from the thing that you're working on. The thing that you absolutely love is to just... This is the only thing you're going to talk about. Hi, we changed the name and it's inherently queer. And it's such a rare thing for... Fuck off with this buzzword stuff. I'm sorry. It's such a rare thing that happens in every single other game that's coming out nowadays. For marginalized communities to have representation, over-representation in every single solitary video game coming out as of late for modern audiences. Every other one, if not 75%, vast majority, pick one. This rare thing does not exist anymore. It is oversaturation, and people just want a regular game with a fun story. But like I've said before, and I'll say it till I'm dead, when all you do is focus on the inherently queer, rare thing, marginalized community, buzzword, buzzword, buzzword. When you are trying to talk positively about your game, people are going to respond by closing their wallets. This is how you tank the popularity of your game, the interest of your game, before it even comes out. Just talk about the gameplay. Talk about the characters. Talk about how interesting they are, how the world is beautiful and lush and full and this and that, and the different things you're going to do. Inherently very queer. Sure, you have every right to say anything and everything you want to. And the customer has every right to shut their wallet and walk away and go find something else. And that's what a lot of people are doing. Go buy a PlayStation 1 and Parasite Eve. Future plans. Anyway, marginalized communities to have representation where we feel proud and powerful in how we are depicted over and over and over again. Such a rare thing that all you have to do is throw a dart at the board and you'll find one. They added, it's so deeply meaningful for so many. Sorry, it's a small percentage. Sorry, that hurts your feelings, but it's a small percentage of gamers that you're trying to pander to. I often get emotional because of, what, you're taking that from... Oh, sorry. I often get emotional when I think about what it would have meant for a younger version of myself to see someone like her in a game, and as a hero, no less, because you're so superficial that you must see yourself 100% carbon copy of yourself in order to relate and understand a video game or a story or a movie or anything like that. That is so unfortunate that you lack the imagination or lack the idea that relating to a character goes far beyond the superficial nature of the outward appearance. I hope we can be safe. Oh, safe place. Here we go again. I'm sorry. I hope we can be a safe place for our queer players to know they are not alone. Yes, I'm making a mocking voice because I'm so... I'm going to get to the finish of the rest of this quote, and I'm going to have something to say. Of course, because I always have something to say. Safe place for our queer players to know they are not alone, that they are brilliant and worthy, that they are not only welcome but celebrated. I have some unfortunate news for you, okay? Just like everybody else, they're not all brilliant, they're not all worthy, some of them aren't worth a damn, and none of them need to be celebrated simply for being queer, trans, lesbian, or whatever. That does not deserve celebration, okay? It is simply, I believe it's been said, who you are. I shouldn't be celebrated for what I wear. I should not be celebrated for how I look. No one should be celebrated for something that they had nothing to do with. Something that you had no part to play in. If anything, your parents should be celebrated. You should be thanking them, praising them, being proud of your parents because they're the ones that made the batter to create you, if anything. But to call yourself brilliant, worthy, all of you must be celebrated. No, I'm sorry. That is not how life works. And that's okay. That is okay. Oh, a safe place. People are tired of the buzzwords. People are tired of the pandering. But let's see what else the article has to say. Bush also makes it clear that, John, just try. Bush makes it clear that it is indeed guiding the game to adhere to their vision. Game directors are sometimes thought of as big personalities who are singularly responsible for the purity of their creative visions. You know what? Whatever they do with this game, however queer it is, if it makes sense, if the character design makes sense, if the character backstory and the storyline, if all that stuff makes sense in the world, you know what? I don't care. I've said that before many times. But somehow I have my doubts, much like anything else. If you're going into a product and your immediate thought process is, I'm going to make it queer, when it doesn't fit the world, the story, the gameplay, then it's going to fail because all those things are going to be pushed to the wayside. The things that actual paying customers want to enjoy, the escapism, the gameplay, the world, the beauty of the world, the seamless nature of an open world. That's usually the easiest thing to get, but even still, some people fail. Some developers fail. But if the characters are trash, their backstories are trash because you forgot to spend some time on them because the only thing you were interested in is making sure that the queer relationships could happen. Companions in video games and the relationships you can develop with them should not be the primary goal when you're creating a game. First, the world building. It's always interesting. Make the world a character in your own video game. Cyberpunk 2077 did it, despite its massive amount of flaws at day one. I'm sorry, year one. Let me rephrase that. Some people would consider Night City was a character in the game. It had life, it had feeling, it had all that. Do that in your video game and you're almost there to success. The story is important. People can relate to stories. People can relate to characters through their backstory, their history, and the actions that they get to do. And then you just have to make the game fun. And once you do that, add all the LGBTQ plus IA whatever into it. Add all the queerness you want into it. But make it fun and make it make sense. Verisimilitude is my favorite word because it's simply the ability to believe something based on the rules of the world. You believe it to be real, even though you know it's not. Just do that. Oh, God. I repeat myself. But for me, okay, the quote continues. Let's see where this journey goes. But for me, it's really about being a steward for the vision that we as a team have collectively defined. I get a high-level view of everything as it's coming together and can steer the project as it does, but ultimately, it's about empowering people to work together, play with ideas, offer critiques. Oh no, I don't think that you're going to allow any critiques whatsoever, because you have a queer vision. The game is inherently queer. The Dragon Age game, set in a magical fantasy world, role-playing game, RPG, and it's going to be inherently queer. I don't think I can go any further. Oh, maybe one more. In Dragon Age, you can be who you want to be, explore the possibilities and consequences of your choice, and build relationships that leave a lasting impression. Few games give players that kind of autonomy. You are a liar. There are quite a few games out there that do just that. And the problem you're going to run into is you're going to turn people away from the game that you want to sell, the game that you have created, the game that you praise, that you celebrate as being queer. You're going to turn those people away, and they're going to go spend their money on something else, something that can do all those same things, all the possibilities, their choices, and build relationship. There's a couple of them out there that are absolutely fantastic. One of them, of which is filled, I believe, with all sorts of queer relationships, LGBTQ relationships, ideology. But the difference is the game is beautiful and it's fun. Do you think you'll be able to accomplish the same thing? I'm talking about Baldur's Gate 3. Need to buy it. Inherently queer. Are you excited for the inherently queer Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and the developer and everything they have to say? Are you excited? You looking forward to it? Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike. I have a funny feeling this game will not make the sales that they want them to be. But I hope to see you on the next one.